You ask the questions and we're going to answer. G'day, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ray, and welcome to our Q&A.
So we put a post up on Facebook and Instagram and asking if you had any queries, comments or questions for us. So we're just going to sit here today and answer as many of those questions as we can. If we don't get to your question, don't worry, we will do that next time around. But thank you so much for reaching out, and just so many wonderful comments and some great questions there. So we will get to answering these. Sabrina is behind the camera. She's going to ask the questions and Ray and I are going to answer.
The first question is, how many grandchildren are you currently up to now?
Grandbaby number 9 is due in March, which isn't that far away. So we're very, very excited to be getting another grandbaby to play with. Being a grandparent is the best.
It is. It's exciting. It's exciting. You can play with the kids and you can give them back.
And get lots of sleep.
Yes.
And we had quite a few of them around the other night for dinner, and it was hectic. And boy, do you forget how hectic it can be with little kids once you've stopped having your own babies. So our youngest is 9 years old now, so it's been quite a while. So yes, we are very, very excited, waiting on the arrival of this precious new grandbaby.
All right.
Next question.
Next question. Next question.
We have a new follower who wonders how old you were when you were pregnant, Mum.
Mm-hmm.
And for Dad, they want to know some words of wisdom for other fathers and leaving children to the Lord.
Okay, so think on that for a moment. So I had our first baby when I was 20, so we got married when I was 19, had our first baby when I was 20, had the last baby I was 45 when we had number 16, but we've also lost 7 little ones through that journey of growing our family. So the last pregnancy I had, I was 46, nearly 47 years old.
Not too old, eh?
Never too old.
Never too old. The size of our family was a personal choice between my wife and I, and you have to be able to educate those children, you have to be able to provide for those children, and you have to be able to love all of those children. And you need to have a big heart to be able to do that, and following the way of God and His beliefs really assists with that.
You have a follower who has lost track of how many children you currently have at home. So Mum and Dad, how many kids currently live at home with you?
Well, we currently have, my wife and I obviously have 16 children. Currently at home, there are 4 boys and 4 girls, just 8. And the house, just 8. And the house feels really empty with just those 8 children. It's quite quiet. A lot of people would think that 8 children is a lot of kids to have at home, but in our household, it's actually really, really quite quiet and quite relaxing to just have those 8 children.
Might be relaxing for you. I find when we go to put the plates out for dinner time is when I really notice, you're putting all these plates out and you're counting, and I'm like, is that it? Is that all I have to put out? Because I'm so used to filling the whole kitchen counter with lots of plates, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, wow, there's just a few there. So that's when I notice it the most. And yeah. And I'm sure that there's more kids that will be going over the next few years with marriages and studies, so it's going to get quieter.
It is. We're on our way to being empty nesters.
Think that'll ever happen? I don't know.
No, we'll have too many grandkids coming around.
So leading on from that question, we just had someone who asked that now the kids have moved out, does the house, do you miss having a full house? And how many kids at one time did you have living in the house? Numbers wise, how many were in there at one time?
Well, I think the most we've ever had in the house, the most kids we've ever had in the house has been 14. I think it might be 14 of the 16 kids.
We almost had 15, but I think one of the kids bought a house at that point and moved out right before I had a baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah.
And the other question was...
Do you miss having like 14 kids in the house, or is it, how does that feel for you guys?
I think because the kids are older, okay, the dynamics are very different. When you had 14 little kids, it was a very different dynamic because you had a lot of little kids that you had to get organised and stuff. Whereas nowadays with the older children, a lot of them have more individual needs, and there's probably more running around of kids than anything nowadays, because they all like to do different sports, they like to do different activities.
There's teaching kids to drive.
Yes, there's lots of different individual things that we now have to do with the older kids.
They're a lot more independent now because they're older. There's a lot of things that we don't have to do anymore. So I must say I miss the days of having that really full house with all the little ones running around. But I also really enjoy having more space to do things that you and I like to do, hobbies and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And so just on the end of that question was having older kids moved out by the time the youngest were born, like how did that kind of relationship between those older and younger kids work, if some of them were already moved out before the little kids were even born?
They had, but for a really long time, every Sunday night we used to sit down and have a family roast. That hasn't happened probably since COVID came through. That seemed to pull us up on a lot of those family traditions. But we're just sort of getting back into the thing of having maybe a family barbecue and having the family around, having our grandkids around. It's great to bring them around because they need to know their uncles and aunts as well, and their cousins, so they can all play together.
So your followers would like to know what hobbies and interests that Mum, you and Dad have, either hobbies together or individual, and how you spend time together. Obviously having 16 children, it's quite hectic. So how do you guys find the time to spend that quality time with each other?
Oh, it is busy.
It is very busy.
So I think you got to put in some effort. Most of our time is taken up with work or just looking after the family. So I think you have to be really purposeful about making time for each other, because we're still just a couple. We're still,
We've just had a few more children than most others. Yes.
But yeah, we try and get away maybe for an overnight date, or we go out for dinner. You took me out for dinner recently. Sometimes a date might mean just having something to eat or drink and sitting on the veranda and just having a little bit of just time away from the children, and that's good too. Yeah. And hobbies and interests. I like to write, so I spend a lot of my time writing and journaling, and I spend time with our church community as well, so serving within our church community. That's pretty much what I do at the moment anyway.
Yep. And I'm sort of always on a school board, or teaching a child to drive, or off to touch football, taking the kids to touch footy or something like that. I like taking one of the kids under my wing and showing them a few things if that's what they're interested in doing. Yeah.
You're good at building things, so you build all my planter boxes for my garden.
Yep. So a bit of gardening together is what we like. That's probably another way, that one of the things that we do together that sort of gives us time to spend together. And you probably don't even realise that is time spent together. That's just what you do together.
I think most of the free time you spend with football.
Yeah, fair bit of football.
A lot of football. A lot of the kids play touch football as well. You've played footy since before I even met you.
Yep.
So that's good. You recently won a state championship, so which is well
that
done.
Was all right.
That was pretty good.
That was all right. Yeah, it was pretty good.
So you have some followers that would like to know how many kids you still have in school and what grades those kids range in.
It's getting smaller.
Yes. We can actually see light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to schooling.
Yeah.
Probably another 8 to 10 years left.
It's been a long haul.
It has been a long haul.
There were times where we had 10 or 11 kids in school at the same time, but this year we've only got 5 left in school. So we've only got 1 left at primary school, grade 4 this year, and then we've got 4 in high school, so that's grades 8, 9, 10 and 12. So we'll have another one graduating at the end of this year. And then we've also got 3 kids studying at uni this year as well.
Correct, yeah. A lot less parent-teacher interviews to do this year. We usually have quite a few to do each year, but yeah, a lot less this year. So.
You've actually taken on most of that. You've done most of the teacher-parent interviews. And then we just try and stay as organised as we can with school, just getting ready for school, trying to prep the night before, do a school run. Yeah. But we're sort of coming and going a lot now. It's not just sort of just jump in the car and take everybody to one place. There's, you know, you might go to do the school run and there might still be teenagers at home that need to be dropped at work later on in the day. So
yeah, still a lot of running around.
Perfect. And then just going on from that, because you have kids, say, that are studying at uni, or because they're not all in one place, like how do you find, when your kids do get older, they grow up and they move out, like how do you find, I guess, having children that potentially live further away from you, and kind of that dynamic of how do you stay in contact with them, or how do you still have that, I guess, connection to your kids when they move away and, you know, there is a distance?
Well, I guess when they move out of the house, obviously then you don't get the chance to see them every day. So, but I think the one thing we do give most of our children before they move out is a good grounding. So they know that family values to us are important. They know that we're always there for them, and if they wish to come back or visit, you know, they're always welcome to do so. And I guess also in this day and age, you know, technology and the way it is, you know, you can always FaceTime one of the kids, or you can always give them a quick call, or, you know, there's all sorts of ways to keep in contact with each of the children, even if we've got a couple of them that live over across the other side of Australia nowadays in the Western state, and, you know, we do miss them, but at the same time we do get to talk to them. We have a couple of family groups that we can all keep in contact together, so we're still pretty close family, even though physically we might not be living in the same household anymore.
And I guess you can always jump on a plane and fly home, and or go for a visit and stay in contact that way. But yeah, for the ones that are close by, we're always chatting, and somebody's always popping in to say hello. And once the kids move out of the house,
parenting doesn't end.
No.
We're always a parent. Okay, we have older children, we have younger children. I'm still a child to my parents. So
right.
Parenting never ends. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Okay? I think that's something
so.
that we enjoy. We wouldn't just want to raise our children to be 18, 19 and then send them off in the world and still not be there to give them advice, still not be there to care for them or love for them or help them out if they needed help. You know, that's what being a good parent is all about.
And I think too that even though we're excited to see what the kids are going to do in their life and we miss them when they leave the house, I think we also give them space to have their own life as well. So, you know, we're sort of not always in their face about what they're doing and everything else. We just let them live their own life because they're busy. They are married, some have got kids, they're all doing their own things. So we're busy at home too. So there's also that space and that privacy that we give our kids once they move out as well.
Good parents raise their children to be individuals so that they can look after themselves and find their own way in the world. That's what we try to do.
Yep.
Thank you to everyone who have sent in their questions. We obviously haven't been able to answer all those questions in one video, so please stay tuned for part 2.
There will be other full videos made on some of your questions, things like cost of living, food, lifestyle, parenting. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and we will see you very shortly. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
God bless.